Welcome back to Barley Home Farms. We're visiting David Aglen again, our host at Strategic Cereal Farm Scotland, where he's been getting ready for the trials for the season ahead. So over the last 7 months, we've been coming back and forward to Barley doing some filming, some time lapse. So we're here today to have a chat with David about how the season's gone, a bit of an overview.
My name is David Aglen and I've been the farms manager here since July 2010. Our spring barley was predominantly sown with shallow cultivation. We had trouble in the past successfully establishing spring barley with direct drilling, so we find that shallow cultivation, about 2 inches of depth, a couple of passes, keeps the moisture in, provides a bit more tilth and allows the crop to get away to a good start, which is all too important for spring barley. Our next crop to harvest will be spring barley, of which here we are standing in a field of Laureate, which I must say has ripened wonderfully with this heavy rain that we've had in the last few days. This crop will be cut as soon as we get an opportunity, which looking ahead looks like it might be this week. But what I would like to draw your attention to is there's more than just the spring barley in this crop. We've done a bit of experimenting here. We've actually already sown a crop of oilseed rape for harvest 2021 in here. We broadcast oilseed rape variety Barbados on the 3rd of August, along with some companion seed, of which was buckwheat, linseed and phacelia.
I would describe harvest as a time when you're trying to do a 5,000 piece jigsaw. We had a couple of things that didn't go right for us. The floods meant that we couldn't get some grates for our burner to dry the grain. That was touch and go whether that was going to work on time. Eventually it did just. The floods themselves about 3 or 4 weeks ago didn't actually have too much of an effect on our crops. They were all still standing, thankfully, afterwards.
It was a challenge. August is, as we've looked back historically, is proving to be the wettest month of the year. And I think if you go back long enough, it always has been. And yet we've been pushing our crops to be ready earlier and earlier. We ditched winter barley last year because there's just no margin in it for us. The malting side of winter barley, the demand's dropped away, so we're just left with feed. So winter oats is our first crop to start with the combine. They'll have done well to do 3 ton an acre, I think, and the straw was knee height. There wasn't a lot of it. But that allowed us to get some cover crop. We put some beans and peas in as a home saved cover crop thereafter to just try and help the soil a bit, with a view to leaving that as long as we could before direct drilling wheat in, which we've subsequently done. Then we had spring oats came early. Again, I think they just ran out of moisture. They just couldn't get the roots down in the spring. And then
It was such a hard spring, wasn't it? I mean, everything sort of dried out on the crust on top, but it was porridge underneath and never going to dry out down there. So
yeah, the spring barley was the pleasant surprise. I mean, it did well. We had some cracking crops of spring barley, again with little straw, but big yields, and you were just like, yeah. And then that had all gone in with shallow min-till. I mean, proper min-till, just cultivating 1 inch or 2 just to get a bit. We find we're struggling without this mineralisation of nitrogen for spring barleys. We've tried direct drilling in the past, and we did do a small plot of direct drill this year, and it just didn't do well. So we've kind of had to swallow our pride a bit, and it all went away from malting with no problems, so we were pleased with that.
So in terms of the cropping this year, it's been quite a diverse season. How's that transposed throughout the year in terms of reducing fungicides and inputs? Have you seen quite a reduction in what you've done?
Certainly in the past, of wait until the disease is there, put a fungicide on, cleans it up, off we go to the next timing. Now obviously we don't have so much kickback activity with the fungicides, so we're going on more protectant, and I think the nutrition, you've got to be even sharper than that. Sprayer needs to be in there, and we need to be identifying what the crop is needing earlier on, which is getting the lead time down on tissue samples back to getting a result, to making a decision to putting it on the crop and getting that bricks rising as quickly as we can. We've seen it, we've grown last year, 2019, we grew all of our beans 200 acres of beans, 180 hectares of beans with not one fungicide, just nutrition. And the crop did as well as fine. It made the premium for human consumption, so it can be done. Well, Chris, here we are in a field of winter oats that was sown on the 6th of September, direct into a summer cover crop. The intention was to graze the cover crop, but we ran into a few issues with fencing and gas pipes. So we just left the cover crop, and it would have been good chest height and just drilled straight into it. A bit of glyphosate thereafter, and hopefully it will come away strong enough in the spring that we can graze some sheep on it.